The worst pain I ever felt wasn't losing my husband after 32 years of marriage. It was hearing my own son look me in the eyes and say, "Mom, you're just a burden now." Those 7 words shattered everything I thought I knew about family. But 6 months later, that same son stood on my front porch, begging for the help he once said I wasn't worth. My name is Margaret Collins, and I'm 58 years old. I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, where I spent nearly my entire life. For 35 years, I worked as an elementary school librarian. I wasn't rich, but I was proud of the life my husband, David, and I built together. After David passed away from a heart attack, the house became painfully quiet. Every room reminded me of him. Our son, Jason, called almost every day during those first few weeks. "Mom," he'd say, "you shouldn't be alone. Come stay with us." I thought I was lucky. Jason lived in Indianapolis, Indiana, with his wife, Emily, and my 2 grandchildren, Noah and Lily. I packed my memories into a few boxes, sold most of my furniture, and moved into the guest room of their beautiful suburban home. At first, everything seemed perfect. I cooked dinner every evening. I packed lunches for the children. I folded laundry before anyone even asked. Emily thanked me politely, and Jason hugged me every morning before leaving for work. I truly believed I had found a new purpose. But little by little, things changed. Emily started leaving handwritten lists on the kitchen counter instead of speaking to me directly. Vacuum upstairs. Pick up Lily from dance. Don't forget Noah's dentist appointment. I smiled and completed every task without complaint. I told myself they were busy. Young families had a lot to manage. Then Jason stopped sitting with me after dinner. Instead of asking how I was doing, he'd disappear into his office or stare at his phone. Some evenings I would eat alone while laughter echoed from the living room. I convinced myself I was imagining it. Until one Saturday afternoon. Emily thought I couldn't hear her. "I can't keep living like this," she whispered. Jason sighed. "I know. Your mom is here all the time." There was a long silence before he answered. Then came the sentence that changed my life forever. "Honestly, she's become a burden." The coffee mug slipped from my hands and shattered across the kitchen floor. Silence filled the house. Jason slowly turned toward me. Our eyes met. Neither of us spoke. But in that single moment, I realized something heartbreaking. I hadn't moved into my son's home because he wanted his mother close. I'd moved in because they wanted someone to cook, clean, babysit, until they no longer needed her. Jason rushed into the kitchen as pieces of broken ceramic lay scattered across the floor.
"Mom."
I didn't mean it like that. His words came too late. I looked at my son, the little boy I had once held through nightmares, the teenager I had worked double shifts to send to college, the man whose first home I had helped furnish after David died. For the first time in my life, I didn't recognize him. Emily folded her arms and looked away.
"No apology. No embarrassment."
Only silence. I quietly grabbed the broom and swept the broken pieces into the trash. "I'll clean it up," Jason offered. "I already am," I replied softly. That night, I barely slept. Instead of crying, I thought. I remembered working every Christmas while Jason was young, so he could wake up to presents under the tree. I remembered selling my mother's jewelry, so he could attend the university he dreamed of. I remembered paying his first mortgage installment when he lost his job years earlier. Not once had I reminded him, because that's what mothers do.
They give.
The next morning, I packed my suitcase before sunrise. Jason found me loading it into my old sedan. "Mom, where are you going?" "Home." "You sold your house." "I'll find another one." His face filled with panic. "You don't have to leave." I smiled sadly.
"No, Jason."
I should have left the moment I realized I wasn't family anymore. The grandchildren hugged me tightly. Lily whispered, "Grandma, did I do something wrong?" I knelt beside her and kissed her forehead. "You did everything right, sweetheart. Never think this is your fault." As I drove away, tears blurred the windshield. But beneath the heartbreak was something unexpected. Relief. For the first time in months, no one expected dinner to be ready. No one had left a list of chores waiting for me. No one needed me to earn my place. A week later, I rented a small two-bedroom cottage outside Nashville, Tennessee. It wasn't fancy. The paint was faded, the porch creaked, and the backyard needed work. But it was mine. I planted flowers. I joined a local book club. I volunteered twice a week at the public library, where children reminded me why I had loved my career so much. Little by little, I began smiling again. Then something unexpected happened. An old coworker recommended me for a part-time literacy consulting project. Schools across the county needed experienced educators to help redesign reading programs. The work paid surprisingly well. Within months, I was earning more than enough to live comfortably. For the first time since David passed away, I wasn't just surviving. I was building a new life. Then, exactly 6 months after I left Jason's house, my phone rang. His name flashed across the screen. I stared at it for several seconds before answering. His voice sounded nothing like the confident man who had called me a burden. It trembled. "Mom." There was a long pause. I need your help." The moment I heard Jason's voice shake, I knew something was terribly wrong. "What happened?" I asked calmly. He took a deep breath. "I lost my job 3 months ago." I closed my eyes. He continued before I could respond.
"The company downsized. I thought I'd find another position quickly, but nothing has worked out. We've fallen behind on the mortgage. Emily's hours were cut, and the bank says they're starting foreclosure proceedings." The confident son who once believed I was a burden sounded like a frightened little boy again. I didn't know who else to call. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then he whispered the words I had waited months to hear. "I'm sorry, Mom. I was selfish. I took everything you did for granted. I let you believe you weren't wanted." His voice cracked. "I'll regret that for the rest of my life." Tears filled my eyes, but they weren't tears of anger anymore. They were tears for the son I thought I had lost. "I forgive you," I said quietly. He began crying. Not the polite kind of crying adults try to hide. The kind that comes from carrying shame for far too long. A week later, Jason drove to Tennessee alone. The moment he stepped onto my porch, he wrapped his arms around me tighter than he ever had as a child. "I don't deserve this hug," he whispered. "No, irremediably. But you're still my son." We spent hours talking honestly for the first time in years. He admitted that after his father's death, he had become obsessed with keeping up appearances. Bigger house, newer cars, expensive vacations, private lessons for the children. The pressure consumed him, and somewhere along the way, he stopped seeing me as his mother and started seeing me as free help. "I hate the man I became," he admitted. I looked him in the eyes. "Then become someone your children will be proud to remember." Instead of writing him a check, I offered something much more valuable. I helped him create a realistic budget. I connected him with former colleagues who knew of job openings. I even let him stay in my guest room for 2 weeks while he attended interviews nearby. But I made one thing clear. I'm helping you because I love you, not because I owe you.
He nodded. "I understand." 3 months later, Jason accepted a management position with a new company. He and Emily sold the oversized house and moved into a smaller one they could truly afford. To my surprise, Emily called me herself. "I owe you an apology," she said through tears. "I treated you like an employee instead of family. I hope someday you'll forgive me." "I already have," I answered. "Today, I visit them often, but only as a guest. I don't cook every meal. I don't clean their house. I don't raise their children. Instead, we share dinners, laugh around the table, and enjoy each other's company as family should." Before I leave each visit, Jason always walks me to my car. Without fail, he hugs me and says the same words. "Thank you for never giving up on me, Mom." And every single time, I smile because I've learned something life tried very hard to teach me. Love doesn't mean allowing yourself to be used. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting your worth. Sometimes, the strongest thing a mother can do is walk away long enough for her children to understand the value of the person they almost lost.